What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. Brought coming to you live from the Uncle Steve Shake Studio in Center Bonstead, New Hampshire. Today we are joined by really barbecue royalty, if you ask me. A man who wears many hats, um, entrepreneur, butcher, competition cook, president of the CBA. We yeah, world. Oh yeah, a little thing called the world champion, reigning first place brisket in the 2023 American Royal. I still have the echo, huh? All
Sounds
right,
good over here.
screw it. Let me try.
I think your mic is muted.
Fucking muted.
There you go.
There we go. A little better.
It sounds good.
Anybody? Do we still got the echo, guys? Still a little echo. Huh. Damn it. But all right. I don't know how to change that, but we'll just put everything fucking to zero. No, I did this StreamYard is the only thing I got open. But no, it doesn't have the audio turned off. It's just very low. But well, anyway, we'll just try to figure it out and roll. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from Rio Valley Meat, Mr. Fred Robles.
What's up, guys?
What's happening, brother?
Not much, man. Just another day.
Mm, nice, nice. So, Fred, for anybody who might not know you, please introduce yourself, give a little rundown, who you are, family, wife, kids, dogs. You're in Texas, so you might have tigers. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, well, I'm Fred Robles. Three kids, two boys and a girl. Fifth, let's see here. There's 17, 15, 13. Beautiful wife. Couple dogs. Um, been doing competition barbecue now, I guess, since about 2012 was the very first contest I did. It was around 2012. So what's that now? I mean, whatever the math is there. Um, 12 years or so. I've been doing competition barbecue. Really have been doing barbecue since I can remember growing up as a kid, just with grandpa and my dad and just burning meat in the backyard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of our introduction into live fire cooking um, and barbecue. And then around 2008, I don't know what's going on. Did y'all lose me there?
I think for just a second.
Yeah. So 2008. Um, we opened up our first butcher shop here in my hometown of Westlake, Texas. If you don't know where Westlake, Texas is you're probably as far south as you can get. We're about 45 minutes from South Padre Island, so
Okay.
we're really close to the coast here. We opened up our first shop 2008, a full service butcher shop, and then we started competing as a way to promote our store. We were cooking meat, um, handing out samples at different barbecue events, and lo and behold, we get a chicken call on our very first contest, fifth place chicken in a contest of about 150 teams. And I was hooked, man. Just hearing your name called up to that stage, and a lot of the people I met there that weekend, they're still good friends of mine. So just the camaraderie amongst other teams, and I'm competitive by nature, so that is always a thing for me, right? Just I want to be as good as I can be, the best at anything that I do. That's kind
Yeah.
of just the way I play, right? So here we are, all these years later. Barbecue's been good to me, man, and gotten to travel a lot of places, met a lot of people, and enjoying it, enjoying barbecue. It's become more of a way of life now, um, through sponsorships and just the Champions Barbecue Alliance. We're trying to give back as much as we can to the barbecue community as well through that. So yeah, man, just living the dream, I guess you could say.
Beautiful, beautiful. Um, yeah, I was down in Houston and for the rodeo this past year, and unfortunately we had gone over to see Robert Rocha, and I had the opportunity to meet your wife. Wonderful lady,
Yeah.
wonderful lady. She made this Yankee feel right at home down in Texas, so much
Awesome.
appreciated. Um, so right off the bat, you get a call into the competition world, and it was the floodgates were open from there, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah. That first contest, I was cooking myself and one of my brother-in-laws, and we got that fifth place chicken call, and we were hooked from there. He's in education, so he couldn't get away as much as I wanted to get away and cook competition barbecue. So I told him, you know what, I'm going to this contest with or without you, and I kind of just kept going. And he shows up to contest every now and then, mainly just to
Yeah,
hang out now. But yeah, that's how we started, and it's been fun, man.
yeah. It's just that's the beautiful thing about down in Texas is there's so many competitions. Um, you can get your pick each and every weekend. So
Yes.
which sanctioning bodies did you start with at the beginning?
When I first started competing, the only thing that was down here in Texas was IBCA, International Barbecue Cookers Association. So I guess you could say we cut our teeth in IBCA for many years. Eventually, we got out of Texas and started competing a little more and started competing in KCBS. It was, I think, the biggest one, or the one that really got me excited was World Food Championships in 2017. The marketing they did behind that was IBCA versus KCBS, and it was
Oh,
two
okay.
punching gloves on the marketing flyer.
Oh,
So
cool.
what they did there that year in Orange Beach was, they had an IBCA contest one day and the KCBS contest the next day, and then the top five from each contest would go to the finals. So I ended up winning the IBCA portion, got me into the finals, and so yeah, so that was always that was always the deal with Texas, right? Is like, man, nobody gives Texas cooks recognition, um, because they're not cooking KCBS, like the rest of the nation. Or um, we've always, at that point, I guess everybody would feel like, we're not getting our due, even though there's a lot of great cooks in Texas. And I think there's still pockets and areas that probably still feel that way, not just in Texas, but outside and outside of the nation. I've heard rumblings about cooks on the East Coast that are great cooks, but they don't get their due, just because they're not in the Midwest, or they're not in Oklahoma, or they're not in wherever. So that was really how I started through IBCA, and then we kind of ventured out, more and more, and had some success out there. And now you look at a contest like the American Royal, and you look at the amount of Texas teams that are showing up now,
Yeah.
and it's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome. At least the Texas guys, Texas is pretty loud at the awards,
Oh
so
yeah.
we might be a little obnoxious sometimes, but man, that's Texas is a big state, and a lot of us compete against each other every other weekend or what have you. So we're all a bunch of buddies, man. We all like to hang out together and have fun.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, there's one of our buddies, Mr. Aaron Leslie. What's
Hey,
up,
there he
bitches?
is. Texas oil dust is in the house.
That's right. Smoking Joe, what's happening? Matt Pereira, Mad Max, Uncle Steve, Chapin, what's happening, brother? Let's see. Al, Lunacy, what's up? Simon, Lap, Quentin Nelson, Dave LaConte, Chris Wazinski, Wes Phillips, what's happening, brother? Tom, Robert Caracas, what's happening? Randy, Patty Dutch, Matt Britt. Oh, we got a full house full today.
Nice.
But oh, there's Mrs. Mags. All right. The boss is in the house,
The
so we're
boss is checking the quality here.
good. um, but yeah, you were saying with the Royal, the Texas turnout, I call it. It's beautiful. It really is, because when I was watching the award ceremony, every time someone would get a call, you get the cheer from the crowd. But you get one of the Texas boys, and
Yeah.
the place just erupted. So everyone's there pulling for each other. Um, there's so many teams. I remember seeing, it might have been the picture of your
Yeah.
uh, what was that, 19?
2019. Yeah. So 2019, the year I won it, a bunch of the Texas teams hung back after everything was done. Everybody had left, and we all took a picture there, at Kansas Speedway. And a good friend of mine, Tony Tenache, actually printed that picture on canvas for me and sent it to me a couple weeks later, and I still have it on my wall. But yeah, that's and you look at the names on there and the faces on there, and it's all Texas teams, and a bunch of Texas family that we compete against. This year we did kind of the same thing, with all the Texas teams, and I'm sure there's a picture out there. Mark Suarez was out there taking pictures, and I think Rob posted it on his social
Yeah.
media. Um, but yeah, there's another picture out there from this year, and it's again all the Texas teams, or most of them. I'm not going to say all because we probably missed a few, but yeah, everybody kind of hangs out and does that deal.
All right. So you won it in 19. Now, how long? What year was your first Royal?
Um, so this was my sixth year at the Royal this year. So
Okay.
yeah, so I've been at. I guess the very first year they moved to the Speedway was the first year that I competed at the
Okay.
Royal. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's got to be? Would that be one of your favorite? competitions to cook the Royal?
Oh, it's definitely up there, man. And honestly, it's yeah, the competition is great, right? The contest is great, but it's one of the few places where I can expect to see all the barbecue family from all over the nation, all over the world for that matter.
Yeah.
So it's really cool the whole week. We get there usually Wednesday early morning. So we're on the road Tuesday, get there Wednesday, and we do. Past couple years, we've been playing golf with on Thursdays with Joe and Blaine, and this year Drew was there, and Bill Purvis, Chicken Fried, and a bunch of the guys. Right, I'm leaving a bunch of names off because there was a bunch of us, but we play golf Thursday mornings and just hang out Thursday afternoon and do the whole dog and pony show on Fridays and get ready right for Saturday and Sunday. But that is one up there with one of my favorites to do just because you see all your buddies right. Eat good food. Somebody's cooking something at all times, right?
Oh
Big
yeah.
Papa's got his deal going on, and Tim does his deal with Blues Hog, and Anella with Snake River does the hot dog social, and Danny and Corey Mikes from Fat Boys usually do breakfast on Thursday morning. And so there's always something going on, and it's just a fun time just to hang out and enjoy other people that you don't normally see.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, like I said, you've won the Royal, and well, let's go to this year. First place brisket for in the Open, which is huge. You know, um, but who took that picture? And the one I'm talking about is you kind of facing the grandstand from the infield. So someone was, behind you.
Yeah.
And it's just a great picture. It's you and you're holding the trophy in your right hand and you're just looking into the distance, just
Yeah.
sucking it all in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that picture, that was the definition of perfectly timed picture that
Hmm.
says 1,000 words.
Yeah, so that was Mark Suarez. He's done a lot of stuff for the Barbecue League, and he's a great videographer, great photographer. He's actually from Austin, Texas, and he took that picture. We were actually taking just regular pictures, right? Like hold the trophy in front of you, and I turned around for whatever reason holding that trophy, and he snapped that one, and it just came out great, man. It's an awesome looking picture,
Yeah,
and he does great work for sure. Yeah, but it was
yeah, that
like you
was,
said, it was a perfectly timed picture there.
yeah, yeah. It was just like, oh my god, you could actually like feel your emotion in the picture. Call me a little sappy, but
Oh yeah, for sure. Man, I lost my voice that week after that because I did so much screaming and yelling there. As
yeah,
you can imagine, man, we all go to the American Royal or to any contest for that matter, right? But one as big as the Royal, we all go wanting to do well, right?
yeah,
Wanting to get a call or two or five. But knowing in that crowd the amount of talented cooks that are there, um, all you can do is really hope to put out a good product and hope to land on the right tables
yeah,
and get lucky, right? So we went through that whole afternoon. We had gotten a call in pork the day before, but on Sunday we went through the whole afternoon not hearing our names, right? Um, we went through chicken, ribs, pork, and I felt we had a really good cook that day or both days, honestly. So to come down to the last call of the protein categories, right? The last call in brisket, they've gone through 20 plus names already, and to come down to that last call and hear Rio Valley Meat called is, man. My wife was sitting next to me. She starts crying, and I'm jumping around like a little kid, and I got guys hugging me all over the place, and
oh yeah,
it was just awesome. The celebration, just being there with. Uh, a bunch of our friends, right, and celebrating their victories as well, because a lot of our buddies did really well as well. Um, but yeah, it's definitely an honor to be there and to come away with that wooden trophy, right? It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Um, Now you've also GC'd the San Antonio rodeo too,
Yes, sir.
which is no small feat in itself either.
Yeah.
So how long have you been cooking that?
San Antonio Rodeo. I've probably been cooking there 8 years, maybe.
Okay.
Eight. I honestly, I couldn't tell you how many years I've been cooking there. It seems like a long time, right? But we were fortunate to win that one last year, 2022. We won that one, and again, that stage there, kind of like the American Royal, is one of those stages that um, is pretty awesome to be on, especially as a grand champion. It's San Antonio Rodeo, for those of you who don't know, is the second largest sanctioned contest in the nation, right behind the Royal. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so they got 300 plus teams at San Antonio Rodeo, so it's huge. And some of y'all might be thinking Houston, but Houston isn't a sanctioned contest.
Yeah.
Houston is ran by themselves, so nobody sanctions that contest. So the American Royal is the largest, and then San Antonio Rodeo is the second largest in the nation. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those that I think most barbecue competitors want to win, and I was fortunate to do it last year, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it another crack this upcoming year, 2024. See what happens.
Okay. So with San Antonio, actually, I think the Royal too, but at least with San Antonio, that gets you into Houston for you.
Yes.
Now, did you cook for yourself last year, or is it just well, 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 yeah? Because if you won San Antonio in 22,
Yep.
that would be for Houston for 23.
Right. So I cooked Houston earlier this year. Yeah.
Okay,
In February. Yeah. So the winner of this year's San Antonio will cook next year, 2024. Yeah. So it's a year
2020.
ahead or behind, whatever.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you were set up out on Champions Row.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay,
Champions Row in Houston at the Houston Rodeo is let's see, 5 teams, I believe. So it's the previous winner of Houston, the winner of San Antonio, the winner of the American Royal, the winner of the Jack, and I'm missing one. Austin Rodeo.
awesome.
Austin Rodeo, yeah. So there's five teams on Champions Row, along with some international teams, which is right. The international village is right next to Champions Row there in Houston. Which you're right in the middle of everything, right by the main stage. It's a pretty cool place to be.
Oh yeah,
It's really awesome.
yeah. When I was walking around it this year in February, it's like, oh my god, my
Yeah,
head
you kind
was
of feel
yeah,
if you're in Champions Row, you kind of feel like a caged monkey though, because they you're fenced
yeah,
in, they got you blocked in, nobody can get in, and which is all right. It's all right because you can get out, right, and walk around and do the whole dog and pony show out there. And there's plenty to see, plenty to do there in Houston as well. If you were there, the parties that go on
oh
there, the big old tents, they all have these big headliner bands and all kinds of people walking through there. But the very first time I went to Houston Rodeo, I was in shock that kind of like Friday night or Saturday night, you lose cell phone reception there.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it'll work in the mornings. It'll be fine when there's no people there. But come come crunch time when it's busy, when there's a bunch of people, you lose cell phone reception, and that's just the amount of people that are there just
yeah,
uh, jamming the lines. I guess I don't know why, but it happens.
yeah. Because we'd get there sometime between like 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'd be on the phones doing lives on YouTube,
Hmm.
Facebook, whatever. Then come 6:30,
Yeah, you're
forget it,
done. You're done till
done.
like midnight.
Yeah, put it away. Don't even bother.
Yeah.
Take some videos, fine, but if
Hmm.
you're gonna go for anything that needed reception, forget about it.
So that gives you an idea of the amount of people that are there,
Oh yeah,
right? For that
oh
to
yeah,
happen. Yeah.
yeah. It was huge. Um, So I think I want to get into CBA, but first I want to ask this question because you, I think, are the perfect person to ask this question with, with the meat shop, with the on the you got the meat shop, the competition cook side, and the sanctioning body president.
Hmm.
In your mind and how you're feeling, where's the state of competition barbecue as of today?
That's a good question. It's a and if you asked me this maybe a year and a half ago, my response would probably have been different. And I can tell you what I see here in Texas right now. So here in Texas, I believe competition barbecue is very strong. Um, and I can tell you that based on the amount of teams that are showing up to contests, the amount of contests that are out there. Texas is doing very well. Now, the rest of the nation, um, just looking at numbers every now and then, right? Because we do our homework. Um, it doesn't look quite as good. Um, but I think there's a lot of contributing factors, right, into why competition barbecue maybe for some um, is not feasible anymore. And you know, economics is the biggest thing to it, right?
Yeah.
I think entry fees are higher, price of meats is higher, fuel. Any given weekend nowadays, if you're having to travel 3-4 hours to get to a contest or more, you're over $1,000 easy. If you're
Mhm.
having to pay hotels, if you're having to um, spend extra and stuff like that, it's even more. So I think the financial burden is too much for some teams and some guys, right? And honestly, it's a lot for anybody. There's I mean, there's some guys who have deep pockets, but most of us don't.
Yeah.
Most of us, have to pick and choose where we go, and be very careful, as we maybe have to uh, make a little money on a weekend to go and cook the following weekend or the following month or what have you. But I think in general, what we're seeing in Texas is we're still seeing growth. I know CBA is still seeing growth as far as membership goes and the amount of contests coming in. So we are excited about not only our growth but also what we can do to even make that growth, to expand that growth, right? What can we do as a sanctioning body to help maybe some of these cooks, and make at the end of the day, we're trying to grow the sport, right? We're trying to grow barbecue, and in growing barbecue, it helps guys like me at a butcher shop. It helps guys who have seasonings or rubs or build barbecue pits, or you name it, whatever
Yeah.
whatever is involved with barbecue. It helps everybody, right? Because it's a trickle down effect. Grocery stores, everybody is benefited from a healthy barbecue society or barbecue organization, right? So I think at the core, that's what we're trying to do, is trying to find ways in how do we grow the sport that we love. And in doing so, it helps not only our organization, it helps KCBS, it helps IBCA, it helps everybody. And I think we're all on the same page. Doesn't matter what acronym you put in front of it. I think we're all in there for the right reasons, right? And
Mhm.
then trying to grow barbecue, and you know, um, in my case, it's giving back to the thing that's given me so much, right? It's brought me so much joy, to me and my family and friends, right? So it's not just about winning trophies and collecting checks. It's bigger than that, right? Um, uh, Big Papa Smokers had uh, had some T-shirts put out a couple years ago that say barbecue is fun, right? Barbecue is friends, barbecue is family, and barbecue is all those things.
Yep.
And I think as long as we keep our eyes on that and keep our goals set in the right places, I think barbecue is going to strive and do well. When it gets ugly is when people start bad mouthing sponsors or start bad mouthing contests or start
Yeah.
there's a place and a time for all that stuff. I believe most of it isn't on social media, or I believe it shouldn't be on social media. But it is what it is. To each their own. We're here to support any organization that we can, and continue to grow the sport we love.
Oh, 100%. Uncle Steve is saying right now, I think cook-offs need to add a first timers or an amateur category. That could be interesting on the same, you got the you got your backyard series,
Hmm.
but to have those, on the same in the same event
Yeah,
could,
I know.
be
I
real
know.
interesting.
We've had a couple contests where the promoters wanted to do that, and they've actually done it. It's not something that we, as a Champions Barbecue Alliance, we don't track their points or anything like that. But it is something that we'd be willing to do as far as like an ancillary type of deal. Maybe have um, backyard throwdown. I know some of our guys that cook CBA have actually contributed money and trophies to having little contests like that. And I've been at a couple of them, and they've called me in to go and taste judge and what have you as um, to some of these backyard or amateur cooks, right? That have never cooked before, and it's pretty fun, man. Just seeing those guys get excited about getting a call. Uh, I remember one contest in particular. This one guy got a couple calls in that Friday night throwdown. uh, he ends up signing up to cook against the the CBA cooks the next day, and I don't remember how he did, but he was so energized and excited. And that's what it's about, right? That's
Yeah,
what it's about, is getting those guys excited about competition barbecue. And a lot of the times they're intimidated to try and go up against all these big fancy shiny rigs that they see out there. But at the end of the day, it's man, I tell everybody it's just barbecue.
that's it.
Barbecue in its simplest form is meant to be simple. It's meant to be cook it well, you'll be fine. So yeah, it's awesome, man, to see some of these younger guys, and we've got a lot of them in CBA as well. That bunch of new cooks, new faces that we're seeing come in, and it's good for the sport for sure.
No, 100%. Chapin asked, where is it? Have you ever competed up in the Northeast anywhere, or how far north have you gone?
I did compete in, I guess it's for me it's far north and way east, but I did compete in Smithfield, Virginia,
Okay.
at one of the guinea pig contests over there. I actually did very well in that GC the contest. That was one contest that I'll never forget. It was an event there in Virginia, and I flew in, um, and Tuffy Stone actually let me borrow his double barreled jambu to cook out of. So
Oh,
I cooked on the jambu, and he let me borrow a pop up tent and some tables and a cambro. And it was a meat provided contest. It was a guinea pig. I don't know if you guys if you guys remember those contests. They're called guinea pigs, and they provided the meat. So the meat was there. I showed up, and Luke Darnell was cooking next to me. He cooked on the other half of that jambo. So we put that jambo parked the jambo right on the division line between the spaces. So he was cooking on one side, I cooked on the other side, and man, I enjoyed that weekend. Cooking out of a pop up and Tuffy's jambo. Man, I'll never forget that. Tuffy was super nice about it and let me borrow his equipment. Right. And we got a GC off that jambo that day. So yes, I have cooked in the Northeast. That's Northeast to me. I don't know how far Northeast you guys are considering Northeast, but that's very far north and very far east for me. But
yeah.
yeah, we cooked that one time, and then another time. Actually, me and Ernest Cervantes, Burnt Bean, We cooked at another contest. We used to be sponsored by Smithfield, and so we cooked another contest in Virginia as well together. We actually drove to that one. Him, Carlo Casanova, and another friend of ours, Kirk. We drove up there and uh, had a blast with those guys, man. Just the road trip was incredible. But
Yeah,
but yeah, I've cooked there a couple times.
yeah. Couple weeks ago, we had Brad Leininger. He came into town,
Yeah.
and it was a double, and he just let loose.
Yeah, oh yeah. I
Some
saw that,
a
man.
703 and a 709. You know,
Yep. Oh,
but
Bradley.
speaking of Bradley, what is the deal? Because I find it so funny, and it shows you two love had a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah.
Now, was it Barbecue USA where they kind of put you two head to head
Yeah.
on who was the best brisket cook?
Yeah. I still give him shit about that today. Yeah, he came down to a contest, KCBS contest in Cedar Park, Texas, which is just north of Austin, where they were filming the Barbecue USA show that we were on. So I was parked and he was right across from me, so I could see everything he was doing. He could see everything I was doing, and yeah, they dubbed it the brisket battle, right? Best brisket in Texas. I don't know what they called it, but we actually both did pretty horrible that day in brisket. We actually tied. We
Yeah,
tied for brisket. Brad will tell you that he beat me because on the score sheet he was on top of me. So technically, I guess he did beat me that day. But our scores were exactly the same.
uh,
Yeah.
but you see stuff like that, especially it's cool with the way the TV's going now. I think
Hmm.
they did obviously barbecue pit masters set the bar,
Yeah.
and everybody's been going things. But I think with Barbecue USA, they've really done a great job with it. And if I'm not mistaken, weren't you on the first episode this year of the second season?
Yeah, so we were on they came down and filmed at another Texas contest in Uvalde, Texas. Actually, Brad was at that one as well. Brad and Chris Schaefer flew in and cooked it as well. So yeah, so they continued the brisket, right, the brisket rivalry or whatever. And there I did flat out beat him. I think I got second place brisket. I don't think he got a call. He did well though. He got some good calls in CBA. It was a CBA contest, that one. It wasn't KCBS, but both him and Chris did well. But yeah, that was, I don't know if it was the first. It might have been the first episode this year. I'm not sure, but it was on one of the episodes this year. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think the first one this year was the Royal.
I think it was. You might be right. Yeah, you might
Yeah,
be right.
but yeah,
Yeah.
then there was a couple later in
Right.
Uvalde.
Mm-hmm.
So Daddy Dutch is asking, how far have you driven for a double?
How far have I driven for a double? Um, I've driven to Florida, so from Texas to Orlando area, um, which is in miles. I have no idea, but in hours it seems like days
A lot.
to get to, which it really is because it's a 25, 26 hour drive according to
Yeah,
GPS. I also did Casper, Wyoming one year that we drove
that's what
to.
that's what Manuel was just saying.
Yeah,
Wyoming.
Actually, I cooked out of Manuel's trailer. So Manuel's truck and trailer. I drove to Amarillo where he lives, or in Borger, right outside Amarillo. Stayed there the night, and then I think we headed up the next morning. Yeah, that was a cool trip too. Just it was me, Manuel, my brother-in-law Brian, and then Bill Purvis Chicken Fried went up there as well and cooked. Aaron Leslie was there, Joe and Brad, and a bunch of guys were up there in Casper, Wyoming. Beautiful, beautiful state, man, Wyoming. Done that, and I've done a bunch of Missouri trips for doubles, Oklahoma trips for doubles. Not a whole lot on the West Coast. I've done maybe King of the Smoker is probably all I've ever done in California. I need to do some contests on the West Coast. They're few and far between over there, but
Yeah,
um, maybe Arizona. I know Arizona had one this past weekend. I'll get out there eventually and cook there.
there you go. And then here comes Daddy Dutch again. Dutch, I should have just had you as a co-host tonight. Did uh did Fred ever cook the Welcome Back to Mayberry cook-off in the past?
Not that I can recall. Where's that one?
Yeah, that's a new one to me. Unless he's being a complete smartass, but I don't think so. But who knows?
Yeah,
He throws zingers once in a while to have some fun.
there you
But with all the contests now, if I'm not mistaken, it's been about 3 years since you launched Champions Barbecue Alliance.
go. Yes, sir. Yeah, it'll be 3 years in February. So we're still in our second year currently, I guess. Well, it'll be three full years in February.
Yeah,
Around the third weekend of February is when we originally launched it.
Rodney, Iowa. It's a doubleheader.
Never
Okay,
cooked in Iowa. Uh-uh.
awesome,
I've been
awesome.
wanting to go do what's that double out there that you got to get on that ferry? Is it Death Store in Wisconsin? I've been wanting to do that one. Um, just I've never made it work.
Oh yes. Darren Worth was just
Yeah,
talking about it.
I think it's Death Store contest or something like that. I'm not sure what city it's in, but you got to put your trailer on a ferry to get it over to the island or what have you. T Mac always tells me about it. He's like, just come on, we'll get you set up. And
West Salem, Wisconsin.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
that
one.
sounded real interesting. So
Yeah.
that would be cool. So what made you start your own sanctioning body?
Um, how much time do we have?
As much as you want. Not as far as anything for specific reasons or
Yeah.
opening old wounds, things like that.
Right.
But
No, no.
to start your own sanctioning body is no small feat.
Nope.
You
It's
know,
not. It's not. Well, I guess um the the biggest reason to start a sanctioning body was, we've always I used to be on the board of IBCA. And myself and Roddy, which is our vice president with Champions Barbecue Alliance, we were on the board, and we always felt that there was so much more that we could do as an organization to better barbecue, to better serve the cooks, to better serve promoters, um, just just to move barbecue in not necessarily a different direction, but I think in a direction that would better suit it for the future. Um, so one of the things that we always talked about was using technology, right?
mhm.
Um, Using technology in everything that we do, not necessarily relying on pencil and paper, and then having issues with manual entry with the fat fingering numbers when you're doing manual entry, right? Because most sanctioning bodies are doing manual entry, and there's a lot of errors that get caught. But just as many as they get caught, there's that times whatever you want to call it that don't get
That
caught.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah. So is it fair to the cook? No. Um, so when you think of, is it fair to the cook? Is it fair to your customer, really? Who's your customer? And I tell our group that all the time is, we want to be a customer driven organization, right? A customer service driven organization. And who's our customer? Our customer is the cooks. Our customer is the promoter. our customers, anybody who helps us out through sponsorships or any organization that we're at an event. Any charitable organization that puts on an event, those are all our customers. Our taste judges are our customers. Everybody, right? So we just wanted to do something to further barbecue along, to get data and feedback on how you did in Texas for a long time, before Champions Barbecue Lines. If you finished 11th through last, you didn't know where you finished because they would only call top 10 in any category. So you could have been 11th or you could have been 300th. Who knows? So that never did sit really well with me, right? Not knowing where we were, what we did. For a lot of teams that get sponsored, they want to know. They want to tell their sponsor, "Hey, man, I was 11th out of 250 teams. Hey, that's pretty damn good,
Yeah.
right?" Um, but you would never know that if you were in the old way of doing things. So that was one of the reasons, and why starting a sanctioning body. When things happened with IBCA and things went south with us, it was the furthest thing from my mind. Never did I think that I wanted to start a sanctioning body. Never did we ever talk about it before then. It was always trying to grow that organization, right? And things happened at one of the board meetings, and I won't get into the details, but um, we were no longer part of IBCA or the board. Um, and I got so many calls from friends and people who were there, and just an outpouring of support. And I made a few calls to some people that I really um, admire and look up to, and believe that they'd give me the right guidance, right? Um, and they said it's now or never, right? It's don't think of it um, as you're doing anything to hurt anybody. It's really you're trying to grow the sport you love and take it in the direction that you feel is the best. So we got together, man. We got together, a couple guys, made some calls, and we kind of on the fly developed some things, and we got in contact with Paul Whitaker, which is our IT guy, and I had this brainchild of a system that I thought would work, and he told me, yes, it'll work, no, it won't work, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you know my thoughts, and then and brainstorming with the other guys, with Roddy and EJ and Bill Purvis, and it's a big group, right? It's a big group, and I'm not gonna go on here and say names because I'm gonna forget a bunch of them, but a lot of people had input in this
Hmm.
organization and still do, right? We developed what we have now. Well, I wouldn't say that. We developed what we had then when we first started, and what it's become now. It's grown into something a little different and way better. And we still have glitches and stuff that goes on
Sure.
internally within stuff, but it's man, we you see those all the time, right? Anytime an iPhone sends an update, there's always some sort of glitch.
Hmm.
It's something that technology deals with, right? But we've done well. Cooks have responded great. Promoters are, we had some promoters real early on, even before we became a sanctioning body, that supported us and said, you guys have been working with us, and that was one of the biggest things. Is we knew a lot of people, just in our days of competing, right? We knew a lot of promoters. We knew a lot of and those relationships that were built way back when, is why I believe CBA has been so successful. And it's just developing relationships with people, right? And our whole group is that way, from top to bottom, man. Our area ambassadors are great. They all have friends that are promoters or are cooks, and they support us and what have you. But to answer your question, we just wanted to grow barbecue. To me personally, I wanted to give back to something that's given me so much, eh, on a personal level, and financially, growth, right? and just the friends and family that I've acquired through barbecue. So yeah, it was mainly we wanted just to grow barbecue, make it better, as fair as we could, and that's still the mission. That's still the goal, right? Is to always, um, we don't want to stay stuck on a flip phone. You know,
Yeah.
we want to be the smartphone, and then have updates and get better and newer and grow with the times, man. Because if we stay stagnant, we die.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
so that's kind of where we're at.
Now, on the technology side, that's like with the judging. Now, my understanding is you guys set up like a network at each and every event, and all the judges literally sign in on a cell phone and key their scores right in, and that goes into your, the main
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
source computer.
yeah. Yeah, basically, I mean, just what you said. It's we set up a local area network on site. We don't have to have internet service or anything like that. It's basically all it is. It's devices talking to a main mother brain, right? So these phones that the judges have, we provide. The taste judges have, we provide those, and each one gets one, and they're basically scoring on those devices. So they're pushing buttons, right? So um, there's a lot of things, and we can get into it if you want.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things we do to try to make it fair, or as fair as possible. But having the smartphone, the gist of it is they have the phones in their hands. They score each box on the phone. That data gets input into our server on site, or and at the end, when we're done with all four categories, our event rep goes and hits a button, calculates scores, and it shoots out scores from first to last. And we could literally go to awards. There's other processes that get involved, but if we really wanted to go to awards, like 30 minutes after we finish judging brisket, we could,
okay.
uh, because we have everything. We have all the data, right? Um, it takes a little longer sometimes because we're printing sheets and doing all kinds of other stuff,
Yeah,
right? Printers are only so fast. So um, sometimes it takes a little longer to go to awards, but yeah, the gist of it is that judges score on those devices. They can type in comments on those devices, so those comments at the end get put on your on each individual team sheet. So your team sheet has all your scores, and then it'll include all your comments. Anything the judge typed in on their phone, says, "Man, this is the best barbecue I've ever had," or "Can I get your phone number because I love these ribs," or whatever it is. You know, they can type in whatever they want. Uh, so you'll get those comments on your scorecard at the end, right? On your score sheets, on your team sheet, and then you get all the overalls and individual
yeah,
category sheets as well. So yeah, it's pretty complicated, but it's pretty simple
yeah.
at the same time.
Now, I had heard on a different show, you have the numbers standing, 10, 9. Now, you guys are 10 through 6.
No, we have four scores, so it's 10 through 7 or 7 through 10.
Seven through-
But that's another thing we did different is we don't use numbers. Our taste judges don't see numbers when they're scoring. So all they see is it's three criteria, right? Kind of like KCBS. It's um, uh, presentation, taste, and tenderness, right? So presentation gets judged first as the boxes get to the table. Our table captain opens a box. Everybody scores it on presentation. They score it, on their phone. Then taste and texture. Once they try it, they judge on taste and texture as it gets passed around. But instead of having numbers, we have words. So on the back end in our system, it's still numbers, but taste judges don't see numbers; they see a word. And that idea came from one time that I was at the hospital, I was getting my gallbladder pulled out, right? And the nurse asked me on a scale from 1 to 10, what's your pain? And I'm like,
Mm,
it hurts, right?
yeah.
What's the difference? And you stop and think about it, and what's the difference between a 7 and an 8, or an 8 and a 9? Like,
Yeah.
how do you judge that? So we felt it was a little fairer to use a word or an adjective or descriptive word, right? To maybe give that judge a better idea of how to separate from a 10 or a 9, or in this
Hmm.
case it's words. But so a 10 for us is excellent, and then we have good, fair, and poor. So that's what judges see on their, I guess, their score template, or on their screen as they're scoring.
Okay.
They see excellent, good, fair, and poor, and it's just four big buttons on there, and then there's a enter button. We try to make it as simple, and then the table the table numbers, table and box number. That way they can make sure they're matching what's on their phone to what's in front of them, right? Make sure they're
Hmm.
judging the right box. So it's really simple. It's not complicated, but I think using those words does help a taste judge, especially since we use average judges. You can say they're off the street, right? They're not certified judges. They're not trained in any way. They're just an average Joe that wants to try some barbecue. That hasn't been told what good barbecue is or isn't, right? So that changes the game up a little bit in how you cook things as well. So, um, but yeah, that's the words, I think are really beneficial into something that we do.
Then the other thing is turn-ins. Now each box gets scanned,
Yes, sir.
and that jumps into basically a randomizer and tells whoever is taking the turn-in where to bring it.
Correct. So, anytime you register as a member to CBA, your name basically becomes a number, right? So you're like, I'm member number two. Paul Whitaker, our IT guy, is member number one, right? So I'm member number two. So I have a QR code, and at our last CBA World Championship, our end of the year event and banquet, we gave away lanyards with a card that has your QR code on it. So basically,
Okay.
what those are is that QR code is you, right? So on the boxes themselves, you get four boxes: one for chicken, one for ribs, one for pork, one for brisket. The boxes themselves have a different QR code, and it doesn't matter whose box you have, because all it is, it's a number on that QR code, right? So when you go and turn in, say, chicken, they scan your QR code to your team, and then they scan the box. So that right there ties them together. Um, so nobody knows whose box that is. Doesn't have any markings on it other than a QR code on top of it. So taste judges don't know whose it is. Um, I don't even know what the QR code numbers on my boxes when I turn them in. I never check them. I never. It's just
Hmm.
a QR code, right? So yeah. So once they get scanned in, um, then they go to another table. Once they're all in, they go to another table where there's a randomizer. So it doesn't matter if me and you and two of our buddies turned in at the same time. Chances are we're not going to the same table. So that randomizer, all the boxes get scanned again, and that's when they're numbered.
Okay.
So me and you could have turned in together, and I might be on table one, seat three, and then you might be on table five, seat two or whatever. So there's a randomizer there, and then there's also a randomizer in our taste judges. So if you and your wife happen to go in and taste judge together, right? Um, and you want to sit together, it ain't gonna happen, because on as you're getting your phone, as you're getting your device, that phone is telling you where to go, and it's completely
Hmm.
randomized. So that phone will tell you, hey, you're in table one, seat three, and your wife's phone might say table five, seat six. So that kind of breaks up the monotony of like a family going to judge together, or somebody
Yeah.
trying to do something funky in the judging area, right? Where a
Yeah.
team goes in and judges and sits all together in one table or what have you. So that breaks that up to where it's again completely randomized, trying to make it as fair as possible and not load any tables or any of that stuff going on. So
Yeah, because
there's
that
definitely the cook is in mind and everything that that we do.
yeah, because that makes sense. Like I said, if me and my wife are sitting there judging, obviously we're in the same household.
Right.
We eat every day together.
Exactly.
We're used to the same profiles, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, you get sitting on the same table, you're gonna kind of get the
Mm-hmm.
same score. So yeah, splitting that up, that's yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Now, Daddy, that's got a great question. How do you feel there's a significant difference on having, average Joes as judges versus all certified judges?
I think there is a difference. So average Joes have never been told or shown what good barbecue is, right?
Hmm.
They've never been told, hey, this is the texture, this is the flavor. It can't be too this, it can't be too that, it can't be whatever. So I feel that in some of these organizations that are using certified judges, it's to the cook, it's more of a you have to cook to the way those judges are judging, right? It's not necessarily who has the best barbecue. It's who's hitting all those technical marks at that point. Um, I think the average Joe is you have to be because you might get some a younger crowd or some older people. You never know what you're gonna get in those
Yeah.
judging areas, right? Could be a lot of women, could be men that are they're on their sixth beer. I don't know. Um, so I think in what we do in Texas, you have to be. I like to call it middle of the road barbecue. Really, what it means is you can't be too much of anything. You can't offend any palates. You can't and it goes I think there's a fine line between certified judging and non-certified to where a lot of the things that we do is the same because I've cooked both, right? A lot of the things we do are the same, and there's just a fine line of you know here we use plastic fork and plastic knife to judge, so it's got to be a little more tender, right? They're not going to grab a rib and leave a bite mark on the side of that rib. No,
Hmm.
they're going to cut a piece off. So they got to be able to cut it with a cheap plastic fork and a cheap plastic knife. So you got to tender it up a little more than you would in a KC
Yeah.
piece. So I think there's pros and cons to both. Whether you like certified judging or don't like certified judging, I think just learning how to cook. It's like anything else, man. You got to learn how to play the game, right? Um,
Yeah.
and
100%.
that's what it comes down to. I think good barbecue in the long run is good barbecue. Doesn't matter where you at, where you cook, it's gonna show up eventually.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Like I said, the CBA. Now, are you guys looking to move or do more events outside of Texas under the CBA guidelines?
The answer in short is yes. We've been very very calculated in the things we do as far as how much we can take on, right? We're still a very young organization. We're still crawling, man. I don't think we're even walking yet. So we're still getting our feet wet. We're still testing the waters, as you can say. And one of the things our board has always been very careful about is being able to grow at a calculated rate, at a calculated pace. But we are always looking. If we get a call, we're not gonna shy away from it. We'll definitely entertain it, and if we see if it's a right fit, works for the promoter. At the end of the day, we don't want to hurt any promoters by bringing in a
Yeah.
sanctioning body they've never heard of, right? Um, but if it's beneficial for the promoter, if it's beneficial for everybody, um, and I think it's just a matter of time to when cooks try it. I think they'll enjoy it. Um, if you don't like doing greens in a box, which I hate doing greens in a box,
Oh,
you'll love CBA.
yeah.
You ain't got to do greens in a box. You put a piece
Little
of
sheet
foil
of
on the bottom,
tinfoil.
you're done.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's again, you just got to learn to play the game. But yes, to answer your question is yes, we are looking. If anybody's out there interested in doing a contest, feel free and give us a call. Check out our website, cbabbq.com. Um, I don't know if I should. We've got a contest in South Carolina that we just got sanctioning on.
Okay.
So we're working. We're working, and we've done one outside of Texas in Louisiana. We did
Okay.
one earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, maybe late last year. So yeah, we definitely are trying to grow and trying to expand. At the same time, we're trying to do it carefully, right?
Cool. Daddy Dutch back at it. Mags, ask Fred how a guy earns a brisket hat from Fred.
Ooh. So brisket hats, you need to talk to Ernest Cervantes. And man, it's gonna be tough for you to grab one of those guys. There's a very few select group of guys who have them, but I don't think he's given one out in at least over a year. You
Woo.
can maybe get a brisket shirt because I think he's selling them at the restaurant, but brisket hats are highly coveted, and I get that question a lot.
Hey, to get a hat from the Pope, you know what I mean?
Get a hat from the Pope of barbecue, man.
Awesome, Fred. Well, I'm gonna leave you with this question.
Hmm.
I know obviously you're friends with Rob, and on the So Smoking Good show, he has the Mount Rushmore.
Hmm.
I've kind of put a little spin on it of the popularity of fantasy sports.
Hmm.
If you were to pick a fantasy barbecue team anywhere, I still haven't got it down exactly. So looking at 5 to 6 members of the team, who would they be?
Ooh, where are we cooking?
And that's why I haven't figured out that
Yeah.
exact number. Because if you go, KCBS, you're doing chicken thighs, chicken legs. You're doing the
Hmm.
CBA or somewhere in Texas, you're doing chicken halves. Take that into consideration too. So that's why I'm like that 5 or 6 number
Yeah.
team range.
Well, just to clear up any confusion, you can do chicken legs or thighs in CBA. Yeah,
Okay,
it doesn't have to be a half. Just putting it out there. A lot of guys do halves because Texas historically, that's it's always
is
been
known. Yeah.
chicken half. But man, I guess if we're talking about right now in today's day and age, in the current the way things are going right now, if I'm looking at Texas, um, guys who are hot right now, you got to put in Phil, LC Barbecue, Bill Purvis, Chicken Fried, Kevin Hernandez. My pits are burning. He's pretty hot right now. He's leading CBA points. Um, uh, Man, there's so many
Yeah.
damn good cooks, man. There's just it's almost impossible and I know I'm gonna get some hurt feelings if I don't mention a few.
Okay, we'll
um,
leave it at that.
yeah, there's just so many, man.
Yeah.
And I can, you got Eddie, Pit Father Barbecue. He's killing
Yep.
it.
Eddie Morales.
Smoking and toasting. A guy from down here in the valley is doing really well. There's a lot of guys who are doing really well right now, and um, yeah, it's just hard to it's just hard to
Okay.
put some names together. But there's definitely some guys who have put in the time and been doing it for a long time and been doing it well for a long time. And uh, guys like Matias Serrata, Pit Boss Smokers, that has been doing it. He just reserved this Saturday, and last weekend he GC'd one down here. So there's just so many cooks, man. There's just so many really really good cooks. Um, you got Robert Smith, Robert Roach has been doing really well.
Yeah.
Um, Aaron Leslie is killing it, man. I think he's in second or third. I think he's in third in CBA. You can never count him out of anything. Ira Green, man. There's just so many.
There's
There's
so
just so
many,
many. So
which is
I,
a
I I
good
went I
thing.
went over your five or your six, but
That's fine.
man, I could keep going. I can keep listing names, but
But
uh,
but that's a great thing, though.
yeah, yeah.
You
And
know.
outside of Texas, I mean, there's even more, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, you look at Janky and Brad and Joe and um, there's so many good teams, man. It's hard to go to a contest nowadays and try to sneak off to a contest and win one, thinking there's gonna be nobody there. All
Yeah.
contests have good teams there, man. So it don't matter where you go, you're gonna run into some high quality competition for sure.
All right. Well, Fred, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you taking the time, talking about you, talking about CBA, everything you guys got going on. Continued success with CBA.
Thank you.
You guys are doing great with it. Um, you're taking your time with it, which I think is very important. Not getting too big too quick.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, you ever want to come all the way up this way? We got plenty of competitions now where they keep adding a few each year. So
Nice,
you
nice.
ever find yourself in the New England area and feel like burning some meat in the parking lot, you let
There
me
you go.
know.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
But
We
where
might
can
see you come here
everybody
one of these
find
days.
you social media?
So you can find me on Facebook under Fred Robles. Instagram is real life. Real life. I saw your Pit Life logo up there. uh, it's Rio Valley Meat BBQ on Instagram or TikTok. Check us out, and I'm not real active on it. I should be doing a better job at it because I need to promote the brand, and I just, man, it's just so many things that I got going on that sometimes it's just
Yeah.
the last thing on my mind, man.
No, I hear you, brother. But well, like I said, thank you so much for your time,
Thank you.
Fred. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And we'll do it again down the line.
Yes, sir.
But
One thing before we go, man, if
yeah,
anybody's watching, we've got our CBA World Championship coming up in 2024, February 17th in Seguin, Texas. If you don't know where Seguin, Texas is, it's just 15 minutes from San Antonio, Texas, right in the heart of Texas, pretty much. Home of the burnt bean, right? So if you guys have ever wanted to try burnt bean barbecue, this would be a great weekend to come out, compete for $50,000 plus, which is what we're paying out. That's our signature event, our CBA event and banquet weekend. So we have our a cook off, and then we have our banquet where we award all our team of the year stuff, and any recognitions that we do. We have a sit down dinner, and it's really nice. So I invite anybody who's ever wanted to cook in Texas, maybe never has cooked in Texas, or if anybody's coming out to Houston, it'll be the weekend before Houston Rodeo. So maybe make it a 2 for 1, right? Come down a week early, cook with us, and then go into Houston. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, man.
perfect.
It'll be a good time in Seguin. So if anybody's interested, we'll be probably opening up registration sometime in December. So be on the lookout for that through our social media and Champions Barbecue Alliance.
Cool, brother.
That's it.
All right. Let me close this down. Hang on, I'll jump on right back
Cool.
on with you in a second. But awesome, guys. Fred Robles, Rio Valley Meat Barbecue. Um, a true gentleman. Um, just loves what he does, just like us. Everything with barbecue has given us friendships, relationships, memories, good ones, bad ones,
Oh
indifferent
yeah.
ones, but at the end of the day, we do what we love, and that's pretty much that.
That's it.
So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you. Got a few feelers out for next week, so haven't got anything set in stone yet, but keep posted on social media, and we'll let you know who we got lined up for next week. But until next week, keep the smoke rolling.